Bread pudding. Does it get any better? Hey folks, welcome back to another Throwdown Thursday. I find myself in an interesting predicament. I have some leftover King Hawaiian buns. My daughter brought these over for a recent family gathering and we have a lot of leftovers. I also find myself with some leftover buttermilk. We were going to make buttermilk pancakes but never got around to it. So I'm going to combine these two and we're going to make some of the best bread pudding I think I'm going to have today. Of course, I think all bread pudding is the best. What do you think? Making bread pudding, pretty simple. You just need some bread. Today we're going to be using some King's Hawaiian sweet rolls. These are a few days old, so they're not that fresh anymore. Perfect for bread pudding. Going to be using some buttermilk, a couple eggs, sweeten it up with some sugar, and spice it up a little bit with some cinnamon. After we get done assembling all this and letting it bake in the oven, we are going to be making a glaze to put on our bread pudding. So let's start by making the bread pudding. Let's start by ripping up these little buns, kind of small little pieces. If you want, you can cut them up. I'm just going to have fun and just rip them apart. I'm actually making a small batch of bread pudding today. I don't have a lot of these buns. And instead of baking it in a big pan, we're going to actually put it in cupcake holders. Make little individual servings of bread pudding. All right, that's pretty well ripped apart. Now it's time to beat up a couple eggs. Now the buttermilk. Put a cup of that in there. Nice thick buttermilk. I usually like my bread pudding on the, I guess, juicier side, if that's the right way of putting it. Dried out bread pudding is not very good. Now some sugar. Make sure it doesn't say salt on your container. This obviously is not a low carb dessert. So let's incorporate that sugar really good in this liquid mixture. We are also going to be making a glaze that's going to be pretty sweet that we will be putting over this bread pudding. All right, that's looking good. Time to combine the bread with the liquid. This is going to be nice and moist. Okay, now it's time to let this liquid soak into this bread really good. Little extra bonus here. I'm actually going to put another bun in this. It seems a little bit too moist even for me, so I have another bun here. I'm just going to rip up and put in there. I'll have the recipe and the exact quantities I used in the description. Okay, that's looking better. Okay, while this is getting to know each other, I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. A little bit of Pam just to make sure those don't stick in there. Now we'll scoop this in. Gonna finish them off with just a little bit of cinnamon on top. I probably should have mixed this in the batter, but you know, better late than never. Let's get these in the 350 degree oven for about 30 minutes. Time to make a nice glaze for our bread pudding. Start with some powdered sugar, buttermilk. And a little bit of maple syrup. Now let's mix this up really good. Just keep mixing until you get all the little lumps of powdered sugar well incorporated. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to let those bread pudding cups get out of the oven. Let them cool off just a bit. Then we're going to serve them with a little bit of this glaze on it. I do have a confession to make. I've never made bread pudding before. I've had it plenty of times in the past. Patty and I like going on cruises, which, by the way, watch for future Rob and Patty on the Runs. Patty and I are taking another cruise this winter. This time we're heading to Hawaii. Hey, and how appropriate, I'm using King's Hawaiian buns in this bread pudding. As I was saying, we go on lots of cruises, and every cruise buffet I've ever seen has bread pudding. Hoping mine turns out pretty good. Wow. Looking good. I think these are done. We are going to let them cool off for a while because there's no way I'm going to bite into one of these pieces of lava. Finishing it off with a little Hawaiian umbrella for our Hawaiian sweet roll bread pudding. And here it is, my Hawaiian sweet roll bread pudding. I had some leftover Hawaiian sweet rolls and a little bit of buttermilk. This is what I came up with. Oh, that is good. So what I'm getting is, well, that Hawaiian sweet roll flavor. Also with that buttermilk and that glaze, gives it sort of a tangy twinge to it. Done perfectly. I cooked it for half an hour at 350. So good. Everything you'd want in a dessert. Sweet, tangy, and moist. I forget, are you able to say moist yet? First, I'd like to thank all of you for sticking around and watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you a cent and it kind of helps me out. Second, I'd like to thank ChatGPT, my new friend. I was sitting around this morning talking to my friend ChatGPT and asked what I could make with some leftover King's Hawaiian buns and some buttermilk. Well, its first suggestion was some buttermilk biscuit chicken sliders. I didn't have the time for that today. I said, hey, something a little simpler, and it suggested this bread pudding. I think it turned out pretty darn good. I was about to throw out those Hawaiian sweet rolls. I'm glad I checked, because I made some pretty good bread pudding. And again, speaking of Hawaii, Patty and I are headed there this winter. We're going to get out of the cold and enjoy some nice warm weather. So watch for future Rob and Patty on the Run videos from Hawaii. We're looking forward to the warm and the fun things we're going to do. As usual, I'm having a great day. I hope whatever you guys are doing, you're also having a great day. See you next time.